Welcome. Open your mind, your body, and your soul. Immerse yourself as you drift deeper into the sound. Here is your guide for this journey.
I'm the co-founder of FlashFX. We're an Australian payments platform. We service a mix of clients. On one hand side, we have consumer and SME clients we service, but we also enable third-party payment gateways and small banks to use our infrastructure for international payments. We've been using an on-ledger Ripple solution for the last 3 years, and very to be now on RippleNet and using ODL.
Great. Josie?
Hello, good afternoon. My name is 𝗕∗𝑿𝑹𝑷. I'm from Peru. I am here with Interbank Peru. Interbank is one of the top banks in Peru. Last year, we've been named top 20 bank more innovative in the region. This is our second year attending as well. We are one of the early adopters for XRP in the region, and we're really excited to be here and share with you guys our experience.
And for those of you who aren't as familiar with on-demand liquidity, you may hear a few of us mention XRP, which was the former name of the feature, to clarify any confusion. But on-demand liquidity is a feature offered within RippleNet that helps customers eliminate the need to pre-fund an account in the destination country where they're sending funds. So XRP, in this case, a digital asset, is used as a bridge between two fiat currencies to help ensure that payments are happening seamlessly and quickly.
nearing an inflection point. There's going to be mass adoption of digital assets and all the use cases that they can be utilized for. We used to dream about doing cross-border payments or remittances, and we're starting to see that really happening. If we analyze what we're doing on a weekly basis today, we are at 1.5% of the remittance corridor between the US and Mexico, which is the largest corridor in the world with $35 billion a year. So if you think that's 1.5%, which is nothing, but it's amazing in the dimension of what we're talking about, the opportunity it can blow our minds. And this is just one corridor talking about just the world and connecting all the dots, not only in remittances and cross-border payments, but in all the different use cases that we could give to the technology. I think this is just starting.
Major?
Yes, sir.
Radar reception has been impaired, but we were able to get things. And we estimate that it has a diameter of over 550 kilometers and a mass roughly 1/4 the size of our moon.
What the hell is it? A meteor?
No, sir.
No, definitely not.
How do you know?
Well, sir, it's slowing down.
It's what?
It's slowing down, sir.
Get me the Secretary of Defense.
It's the mission of Race in Space.
And Race in Space mission is really to take the music industry and to help it self-disrupt, to help it look at itself very, very honestly, see where the inefficiencies are, and ultimately marry that vision with the technology that's coming from the tech space and give birth, hopefully, to this next generation of tech companies that the music industry, for the very first time, is really a partner in.
And ultimately, to add one thing to that, to raise the value of music. And that sort of brings us back to the name Race in Space, which is, it's named after the people who aren't held down by the gravitational pull of old thinking, of old industry, and who want to come as a part of the new frontier to ultimately drive innovation and change in the music industry.
For a digital asset, a technology like, say, XRP, how can that benefit the music industry and artists and creators?
The music industry has been very, very traditional in its view of the relationship between an artist and a fan. Blockchain is a very, very powerful tool in powering every one of those new relationships where artists can invite fans to ultimately experience their art in a much more interesting, expansive way, where artists can ultimately incentivize fans to do what they already love doing, which is telling the world about their favorite artists. So, blockchain and XRP expands from this very, very finite view of an artist-fan relationship to ultimately being able to power this next generation of what fandom and monetizing fandom will be for artists.
With the rise of technology allowing anyone in their bedroom to make a song, then distribute that song, or ultimately in a place where there are 30,000 songs that are released every single day. When you look at that, it provides a greater need for absolute authenticity, and with that authenticity comes a need for exclusivity, and with that exclusivity comes the need for a blockchain type of solution that is able to track what is ultimately exchanged. And that's another area that we're closely looking at, which is how do artists differentiate? What are their offerings to fans? And what is the validator to that fan to know that they have something that is absolutely exclusive?
Such an incredible win-win. Yeah. And the biggest thing for us is that it means that we have effectively an unlimited source of volume for on-demand liquidity transactions, and we have a motivated customer. So, and to be honest, it took us a while to get it right. It's been kind of a bumpy road, and it's nice to have somebody who can provide you as much volume as you can handle so you can test easily and without having someone who's got some patience and understanding. And the road's gotten a lot less bumpy recently. Real-time application.
Hi, my name is BradleyG from Investment Perspectives and Cryptonaires documentary. I wanted to ask a question about globalization. If you could talk about the idea of the old concept of the banker coin and a neutral asset being in place of a global reserve status of the dollar, and possibly that being XRP.
What you're asking for is whether there's a possibility of a global currency, and to some extent that's what Libra was trying to do. And as I understand it, that's different from what XRP is trying to do. And the reason is as follows. As soon as you go to maintaining the value, right, some kind of stable coin, a whole set of regulatory concerns get triggered. I have to make sure that there is corresponding financial or real assets backing this notional value that they seek to maintain. That looks a lot more like a bank, right? Because you're promising some claims which are fixed, and that requires regulation for reasons I just talked about. Now, once you get an army of regulators, every central bank looking at it, then the question is, have you added a whole set of transaction costs to this, and is it worth, is it that useful? As I understand it, what is attempted with XRP is not so much maintaining the value, but offering a vehicle for exchange, which is quite different, because there you can have value fluctuating. All you need is value to be stable for 10 seconds while the whole transaction takes place. And as a result, there's a whole different need for regulation. You don't need to regulate value. I don't care. So long as there is some value, the transaction can certainly take place. And as a regulator, I'm not so worried about either this displacing my fiat currency, because you're moving from one fiat currency to another. It's just an interim value. And it's a means of exchange. But it's neither a store of value nor a unit account, etc., etc.
Thank you very much.
I must have said something right.
of experimentation and a world where people talk about the opportunity and really the speculation of digital assets, we feel like XRP is the only digital asset really poised to solve a problem at scale, a global payments problem. The friction and the speed at which, the low friction and speed at which XRP operates is extremely low cost and extremely fast. This is different than many of the other digital assets out there. So let's spend a moment talking about 2019. It's been an incredible year. The industry certainly has evolved a ton, and I think anytime we're here talking, it would be, before June, we didn't really talk about Facebook and Libra, but now you can't have a conference like this and not talk about what's going on with Facebook and Libra. But for me, what Facebook announced with their white paper was similar to the vision we have talked about at Ripple from the earliest days. Their vision is a little bit different because in many ways they seek to go direct to the consumer. In many ways they seek to compete with the banks. They want to onboard customers, they want to deal with the KYC requirements. Ripple's view is we can partner with the industry, we can partner with regulators to work with the system as opposed to against the system. Now, Libra's brought a lot of attention to the category, and I think it's still uncertain as to how that plays out. I've said publicly before, I think any financial institution, any financial product is really built upon trust. And today, Facebook has a trust deficit, and as they move forward, I think many regulators continue to ask questions about should we have Facebook as an entrant in the financial system. So as I said, unclear what's going to happen, but frankly, had you told me a year ago, or even when I joined Ripple almost 5 years ago, that companies like Facebook would be entering the digital asset and blockchain industry, I probably would have doubted that would happen as quickly. Now there's two other very notable announcements during the course of 2019 that I think we're touching on and demonstrate some of the momentum across the whole industry. But even for businesses at large to truly change the way payments flow and change the way industry flows. Our vision remains the same today. The Internet of Value is something that step by step we're seeing come to fruition. Now I admit, when I go out into CEOs of banks or regulators and I talk to them about an Internet of Value, some of them kind of look at me like, okay, what's he talking about? What's that mean? That sounds like a Silicon Valley thing. And so what we've defined really is in the shorter term a mission focused on enabling payments everywhere, every way, for everyone. Now I'm going to focus on this for a moment because the most important word for us in this statement is enable. Many of you in this room today are our customers, our partners, and it is through you, it is with you that we are partnering to enable these payments. We aren't out there trying to sign up customers directly. We see the opportunity to bring interoperability across payment networks, across borders, to fundamentally change the way cross-border, cross-network payments flow. All of us in here have experienced in one way or another how this works today. It is a slow experience today. It does have friction. Some of that friction is in the speed, some of it's in the cost, and all of that manifests itself to customers in a way that restricts commerce. Now, on top of all of that, it is unreliable today. Cross-border payments today have error rates ranging from as low as 2% to, I've heard CFOs describe 11% error rates using Swift messaging. This expense is costly and it needs to change. We need to reset the plumbing by resetting the fundamental architecture of how payments can flow. Today, existing players today are merely treating some of the symptoms. The way I think about this is we have workarounds. There's incredible innovation and money flowing into new startups, thinking about how payments can be done differently. So many of those are built upon the existing infrastructure. I think of these almost as hacks of the current system. Incredibly exciting to me when we come together at Swell is it's no longer just a vision. It's no longer just an idea. 2 years ago, in our first Swell event in Toronto, Ben Bernanke was our keynote, and I remember looking out at the audience, we had a couple hundred people. Today, we actually had to cut off registrations at 800 people coming to Swell because of the interest and the momentum that is occurring. Using blockchain technologies, not as a theory, not as a concept. There's so much experimentation, but what Ripple is doing with these technologies, with digital assets, is actually real, and it's actually expanding quickly.
Surprised to see me?
Do it. Push the button, Tom. Do it, Tom.
That's right, we got you. On behalf of the planet Earth, happy 4th of July.
Welcome home, Mr. Cobb. Thank you, sir.
And now you made it, but I already played this. Not interested. Open your eyes, let's get it done. Take my hand, just follow me. Shadow and me are one.